3:47 a.m. Dispatcher Renee Okafor took a call that wasn't logged anywhere in the system. No incoming number, no location ping, just a voice, flat and calm, filling her headset like it had been waiting there the whole time. "I need you to stay on the line," it said. "Don't transfer this call, sir. I need your location to send help." "You already know my location," the voice said. "You've known it for 6 years." The call lasted 40 seconds. When it ended, her headset showed no call history at all. Not incoming, not missed, nothing. She didn't tell anyone. She told herself it was a glitch. It called back the next night. And the one after that. Renee had worked dispatch for 6 years. Long enough to stop flinching at the worst of it. Long enough that her co-workers called her the calm one. The one you wanted on the line when everything was falling apart. She liked the job for a simple reason. On a call, she was never the one in danger. She just listened, and directed, and hung up, and moved to the next voice in the queue. Other people's emergencies. Never hers. That was the deal. That was the whole deal. The second call came in on a real line, a real number, at 3:47 a.m. exactly. 9-1-1. "What's your emergency?" Silence, then breathing. Unhurried, almost amused. "You didn't tell anyone about last night." Her hands went cold on the keyboard. "Who is this?" "You will find out exactly what you need to. Exactly when you need to. That's how this works." The line disconnected before she could trace it. The trace, when she ran it anyway, came back to a landline disconnected in a house 11 years vacant. She told her supervisor it was a prank caller. Her supervisor logged it as one. Neither of them mentioned the timestamp, 3:47. The same as the night before, the same as the shift change no one had told anyone about yet. The third night, the call came through on hold music. Not a ringing line, a call already connected, already routed to her, in the middle of an ordinary transfer from another operator. "Renee," it said, before she'd said a word. "You're going to get a call in 11 minutes. A woman. Kitchen fire. Don't send the truck to the address she gives you. Send it to the one 2 streets over." The line went dead. 11 minutes later, a woman called about a kitchen fire, and gave an address that Renee, staring at her screen with her pulse hammering somewhere behind her eyes, send help to anyway. The address the woman actually gave. Not the other one, because it was insane. Because none of this was real. Because dispatchers do not take instructions from disconnected phone lines at 3:47 in the morning. The fire spread to houses over before the truck arrived. The house that burned completely was the one the voice had named. No one else remembered the first address being wrong. The call logs, when she checked them, only ever showed the second one. She stopped sleeping before her shifts. She started arriving early, leaving late. Anything to avoid being alone in the building at 3:47. Though the number didn't care what time she clocked in, it always found her exactly then. Mid-call, mid-breath, mid-anything. On the 7th night it didn't wait for a lull. It came through while she was already on with someone else. A real caller, a man reporting a break-in. His voice thin and frightened in her ear. And beneath his words, faint, layered under the connection like a second frequency riding the same wire. She heard it, waiting, patient. "Mom, is someone in the house with you?" she asked the caller, hands shaking so badly she nearly dropped the headset. Throat dry, thoughts scattering into things too fast and too useless to be called thoughts. "This isn't possible. This isn't a phone problem. Phones don't do this. I need to hang up. I can't hang up. If I hang up I lose him." "I don't know," the man whispered. "I don't know who's talking. There's someone on the line with us." The voice answered him directly, not through Renee, not routed through anything. Simply present, layered into a call she had not connected it to. "There's always someone on the line," it said. "That's the whole point of the job," the man screamed. The call cut out entirely. Not disconnected. Just gone. As if the line itself had been erased rather than closed. Renee sat frozen at her station, headset still on, listening to 11 seconds of open silence that felt, unmistakably, like something on the other end was still there, still listening back. Then, so quiet she almost missed it under her own pulse. "Your turn is soon. You've had 6 good years. That's more than most get." She reported everything the next morning. The calls, the timestamps, the address that shouldn't have mattered. The man whose report vanished from every log the way her own calls always did. Her supervisor pulled every record available and found exactly nothing. No anomalous calls, no missing case file, no trace of a break-in reported that night at all. Renee, he said carefully, the way you talk to someone you're worried about. Maybe you need some time off. She took the time off. She didn't come back for a while. She thought that was the end of it. Asterisk 6 months later, a new dispatcher named Priya took the overnight shift at the same station, at the same desk, and at 3:47 a.m. her headset connected to a call with no incoming number and no location ping. I need you to stay on the line, the voice said. Don't transfer this call, sir. I need your location to send help. You already know my location, it said. You've known it for 6 years. Priya had started the job from months ago. She did not correct him. The clip was 9 seconds long. Timestamp 2:03 a.m. A man standing at the front door, perfectly still, close enough that the fisheye lens distorted his face into something almost featureless. He wasn't reaching for the bell. He wasn't knocking. He was just facing the camera, as if he already knew exactly where the lens was. At second 6. He leaned in until his face filled the frame entirely. At second 9. The recording ends mid-motion, his mouth just beginning to open. The homeowner never got a 10-second. The app server logs show the clip was recorded successfully. They also show it was never triggered by motion, sound, or any manual request. Nobody in the house pressed record. Nobody in the house was ever able to explain who deleted the doorbell storage completely. 3 days before anyone thought to look, Sophia installed the doorbell camera the week after her divorce finalized. Mostly so she'd stop lying awake convincing herself every car in the driveway was her ex's. It worked exactly as advertised. Motion alerts, live view, two-way audio, cheap peace of mind for $40, and an app she barely opened otherwise. For 2 months, nothing came through but raccoons, delivery drivers, and one very confused Roomba salesman. Then the notifications changed. Asterisk person detected. The app said 1:58 a.m. She almost ignored it. Almost, curiosity won. The way it always does at that hour, when the mind is too tired to make good decisions, and too awake to stop scrolling. The footage showed a man at her door. Not moving, not ringing, just standing, angled slightly toward the lens, as if he'd been told exactly where to look. She didn't recognize him. The porch light caught only the edge of his jaw, nothing more. The camera seemed almost designed to lose him, frame after frame, like something in the image itself resisted being captured clearly. He left before she worked up the nerve to speak into the two-way mic. The clip auto-saved. When she went to review it the next morning, it was gone, not deleted and recoverable, simply absent, as though it had never been logged at all. She told herself it was an app glitch. Cheap hardware, cheap software, that's what $40 bought you. The second alert came 4 nights later. Same time, same man, same stillness. This time he didn't leave when the porch light flickered. He knocked once, waited, then, very clearly, said something to the lens, not to the door, to the camera, that the audio caught perfectly. 3 words, calm as a weather report. She's home tonight. Sophia sat up in bed so fast her head spun, phone shaking in her hand, thoughts scrambling into fragments too fast to be useful. Lock the door. I locked the door. Did I lock the door? Call someone? Call who? It's 2 a.m. What do you even say? And by the time she'd steadied her breathing enough to check the live feed, the porch was empty. She called the company's support line the next day. The representative, politely baffled, confirmed the account showed no alerts at all for that week. No motion events, no stored footage, a completely quiet log. As if the man had never once triggered the sensor he'd been standing directly in front of. Ma'am, the rep said carefully, is it possible you're thinking of a dream? She wasn't. She still had the audio clip saved to her own phone, downloaded before it vanished from the app. She played it for the representative over speaker. There was a long pause on the line. I don't hear anything, ma'am. It's just static. She played it again after they hung up. It was 3 words, unmistakably. She's home tonight. Asterisk the third alert came 2 nights later. And this time the app didn't say person detected. It said known visitor. Sophia's stomach dropped somewhere below the mattress. She had never labeled anyone in the system. She didn't recognize the tag, a name the app auto-generated, M. Hollis. She had no idea who that was. She had never lived with anyone by that name, dated anyone by that name, met anyone by that name in her life. The footage loaded slower than usual, buffering, and when it finally played, the porch was empty. No man, no movement, nothing, except that the audio ran anyway, full 2 minutes of it, someone breathing close enough to the microphone to fog it, and underneath the breathing, so quiet it took her 3 replays to be sure she wasn't imagining it. Her own name, repeated, unhurried, over and over, in a voice that sounded like it was trying out how it felt in its mouth. Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking long enough to dial. She dropped the phone twice, reaching for it, the room tilting at some wrong angle, breath catching high and useless in her throat. Every rational thought drowned under one animal, wordless certainty. He is already inside the frame even when he isn't standing in it. She called the police instead of the company. 2 officers came, walked the perimeter, found the doorbell camera undamaged, functioning normally, showing nothing unusual in its live feed at all. They were kind about it. They were also, unmistakably, unconvinced. There's no footage here to work with, Mom, one of them said, not unkindly. Nothing's actually been recorded. It was recorded. It just doesn't stay. He didn't say what he was clearly thinking. He didn't have to. Asterisk, she had the camera removed the next morning. Had every lock in the house rekied. Stopped answering the door after dark for anyone, delivery or otherwise, and told herself, the way people do, that removing the evidence of a thing was the same as removing the thing itself. For 3 weeks, it worked. No alerts, because there was no longer an app to send them. Then, walking to her car one gray morning, she noticed the porch light bulb had been changed. Not broken, replaced. A brand she didn't buy, screwed in with the kind of care that took time. That required someone standing exactly where the doorbell camera used to watch. She never found out who did it. Or, when asterisk the listing for Sophia's old doorbell camera model still exists in the company's app store. 5 stars, thousands of reviews, buried in them. Posted 8 months after Sophia moved out, is a 2-line review from a new owner at her old address. Works great. Only issue is it keeps tagging a known visitor I've never added. Anyone else have this bug? No one ever replied.
Every dispatch center keeps a hold queue, calls waiting to be picked up, ranked by urgency, time stamped to the second dot at the Ashford County Call Center. The system logged a call entering the queue on a night in March. Priority, critical, caller, unlisted. Wait time, according to the server, began accumulating at 11:58 p.m. No dispatcher ever answered it. 3 years later, the call was still in the queue, still critical, still waiting. The wait time counter, when anyone thought to check, read out in years, not minutes, climbing, patient, untouched by every software update, every server migration, every attempt to purge it that IT ever tried. Nobody could explain how a call could wait that long without ever timing out. Nobody wanted to be the one who finally picked it up. Asterisk. Talia had been at Ashford County for 8 months. Still new enough that veterans corrected her jargon. Still green enough to believe every emergency had a clean, procedural answer if you just followed the script closely enough. She liked the structure of it. Call comes in, you triage, you dispatch, you move on. No case followed her home. That was the point of a headset. It came off at the end of a shift, and so did everything you heard through it. Her 3rd month in. A coworker mentioned the old call, almost as a joke. The way people repeat office legends they don't quite believe. Don't ever answer the one in the queue that's older than you are. Talia laughed along and forgot about it within the hour. The system didn't let her forget for long. Asterisk the first time she saw it, she assumed it was a data error. A queue entry with no caller ID. Priority flagged critical. Wait time reading 3 years, 1 month, 14 days. She reported it to IT. IT reported back, a week later, that the entry didn't exist in any database they could access, despite it still being visible, right there, on her own screen, ticking upward in real time, She stopped mentioning it after that. Reporting things that don't exist gets you looked at a certain way. 2 weeks later, it moved, not the timestamp, the position. It climbed from the bottom of the queue to the top, past every real, urgent, currently ringing call, until it sat first in line, radiating the kind of priority flag reserved for calls where someone was actively dying. The system offered it to her directly, not randomly assigned, addressed, her badge number in the routing field, though she'd never touched that call, never even opened it. She let it ring into nothing and marked it as system error. Her supervisor didn't question it. Nobody ever seemed to want to look at that entry longer than necessary. The third week, her headset connected to it without her hand touching anything at all. No accepted call, no dragged icon, just audio. Suddenly live in her ear, mid-shift, mid-breath, breathing, slow, patient breathing, the kind that isn't panicked, isn't gasping, the kind that's simply waiting for you to notice it's there. Hello, she said, before she could stop herself. This is dispatch. Do you have an emergency? The breathing paused. Then, quiet, almost gentle. You finally picked up. The line went dead before she could ask anything else. Her hands didn't stop shaking for the rest of the shift. Breath coming short and useless. Thoughts scattering into fragments too fast to hold on to. It's been 3 years. Who's been breathing into a phone for 3 years? How is anyone still alive on the other end of a call that old? Until she made herself stop thinking about the phrase still alive at all. Asterisk the fourth time. It didn't wait for her to be alone. She was mid-call with a real emergency. A teenager reporting a car accident. Voice cracking with adrenaline, background noise of traffic, and someone else crying. When the old call bled directly into it. No transfer. No warning. Just there, layered underneath the boy's voice like a second signal riding the same frequency. Talia, it said, calm as ever, threading itself between the boy's frantic sentences. You've had this job 8 months. That's longer than the last one lasted. Her mouth went dry. Her pulse hammered somewhere behind her eyes. The boy on the line kept talking, unaware, oblivious to the second voice layered under his own, and some detached, terrified part of Talia understood that whatever this was, it wasn't speaking to him at all, only to her. Riding along on a call it had no business being inside. Who's on this line? The boy asked suddenly, voice going thin with fear. Is someone else? Hello. Who's there? There's always someone else on the line. The voice answered him. Before Talia could speak, before she could do anything but grip the edge of her desk hard enough to hurt. That's the whole point of the job. The boy's call cut out completely. Not transferred. Not disconnected. Simply gone. The way the old call itself seemed to exist in a state normal calls didn't get to occupy. Talia sat frozen, headset still on, staring at a queue that now, for the first time in 3 years, showed the entry as resolved. Wait time, 3 years, 1 month, 29 days. Resolution notes, auto-generated by a system she'd never touched, handled by badge 4471. Her badge number asterisk, she reported everything the next morning, laid it all out for her supervisor in order, the entry, the years, the breathing. The boy whose call had vanished from every log the same way the old one always had. Her supervisor pulled every record available and found nothing. No critical entry, no anomalous wait time, no missing case involving a teenager in a car accident that night at all. Talia, he said, careful, the way you talk to someone you're starting to worry about. Maybe you should take some personal time. She took it. She didn't go back. For a while, she let herself believe that not touching a headset again meant it couldn't touch her either. Asterisk 6 months later, a new hire named Marcus took the overnight shift at Ashford County. Same station, same desk, and near the end of his second week, glanced at the hold queue and noticed an entry with no caller ID. Priority critical. Wait time reading 8 months, 6 days. Precisely as long as Talia had worked there. He asked a coworker about it, half joking. The way people repeat office legends, they don't quite believe. Don't ever answer the one that's been waiting longer than you've had the job. She told him, not smiling. Marcus laughed along and forgot about it within the hour. The system didn't let him forget for long.